Welcome back, college football fans, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the only channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. In other words, this channel has got you covered for all things college football. Let me go and turn that off now. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks, and it's great to be back with you once again here as we move into week 10. I can't believe it. November football happens this Saturday, and we all know what that means. November football is where championships are won. It's where college football playoff berths, the tickets are punched to the playoff, and it's where we separate the contenders from the pretenders. I mean, at this stage in the game, every single contest is uber important. All right. And so what I've got on tap for you today, this is my updated Week 10 college football power rankings, numbers 1 through 12, and then I give you my first two teams out, as I do each and every week. And I do have a good amount of movement from last week's list. If you've been with me before, welcome back. I appreciate and thank you for all that you have done for the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Seriously. I mean, without you, none of this is possible. What an absolute treat and a pleasure it is for me to be here with you weekly, sharing my love and passion for all things college football. And if this is your first time with me here on the channel, welcome. And I want to find more college football fans just like you. So please, spread the word, help the channel grow, tell your fellow college football fanatics, your fellow coworkers, your family members to check me out here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And please feel free to rate, like, subscribe, click that notification button, because once again, anything you could do to help the channel thrive, survive, and expand, I am absolutely very, very grateful and very appreciative. And as always, I always ask for your participation, and I welcome your comments, and I want them. So please get involved. Let me know what you think about my power rankings list, or if you just want to go ahead and comment about college football in general, feel free, exercise your right. I want to hear from all you fanatics from east to west, north to south, and everywhere in between. So please feel free, light up that comment section below, and I promise I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later via those comments. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it right now. My Week 10 power rankings. And I'm going to go and start off, as I always do, at the very top, numero uno. We have a new number 1 this week because you know what? I'm sick and tired of this team. I'm not saying that they're not respected. Everybody knows that they are a legit national title contender, but I watch them and I really don't see a flaw at all with this program. That's right, I've got Indiana up 1 spot from last week, taking over the top spot. Over the weekend, week 9, they had another 50-point victory, this time at home against UCLA. And I think this is Indiana's 4th, maybe 5th. I think it's their 4th, maybe 5th win by 50 points or more this season. I mean, absolutely incredible. I mean, yes, this is the Indiana team that also has historically the most losses of all time in college football. It's absolutely awesome, the parity that we're seeing this season. And this week, they traveled to Maryland. But yeah, I finally got Indiana taking over the top spot because I do think they are, at this point, the best team in the nation. All right, number 2, down 1 spot from last week, I've got the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, over the weekend, they did win at South Carolina, a very gritty, tough win. They ended up winning 29-22, so by a touchdown, but they needed not 1, but 2 touchdowns in the closing minutes to secure that victory over a really struggling and underperforming South Carolina team. It's really one of those conundrums. I expected big things out of Shane Beamer's ball club and quarterback Lenora Sellers, but they have absolutely fallen flat this season. So because of that, even though in victory I've got the Crimson Tide down one spot to number 2, let me go and silence all this talk here. I mean, what's going on? People are blowing me up left and right here. All right. So continuing with my my rankings, number 3, I had them right where they were last weekend. Even though they might be ranked number 1 in the AP poll, I've got the Ohio State Buckeyes, who were able to enjoy themselves. They had a bye week in week 9. I mean, this is a team that is an upper echelon team, but they really haven't faced a lot of diversity or really have not squared off with a lot of legit competition. Very good wins against Texas, at Washington, but other than that, we really haven't seen anybody challenge them. So that's why they're a good team. They're a playoff caliber team, but I got them sitting in the 3 spot until they prove a little bit more to me. All right, number 4, one of my big movers this week. And I'm telling you, I had some doubts about this squad, but I am absolutely on board. Up 3 spots from last week to number 4. I got the Texas A&M Aggies. They delivered that knockout blow. They went for the jugular, or if you want to say the last nail in the coffin of LSU coach Brian Kelly, who was dismissed late Sunday night. The Aggies went on the road to Death Valley South and Baton Rouge and absolutely shut down and shut up that hostile crowd there in LSU. I mean, huge win, huge road win, kind of a prove-it spot for A&M. I mean, if you didn't see the end of that game, it was maybe half full, maybe. And a lot of those folks were A&M fans who were just partying like it was 1999. So I am all about A&M. I mean, I didn't know if they could really, put a full, complete game together on all facets and sides of the ball, but I'm an absolute believer at this point. All right. Number 5, exactly where they were last week. I've got the Miami Hurricanes, the U, sitting there. Kind of a slow start over the weekend. I believe it was 7-7 at halftime down in Coral Gables, Florida, when they welcomed Stanford from the West Coast. But they pulled away big time and flexed big time in the second half. Miami, they do have that loss, that stumble at home a couple weeks ago on a Friday night against Louisville. But other than that, they're still looking the part as the cream of the crop in the ACC. Number 6, down 2 spots. I've got the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, they did have a bye over the weekend. So I don't like to punish a team that much that's coming off of a bye or had a bye, but they're going to have plenty of opportunities to prove that they can climb back up on my list of my power rankings. And this week they take on their arch rival down in Jacksonville, the Florida Gators. That's must-see TV. I think this is going to be a really, really close game, by the way. All right, definitely what I'm going to be breaking down in my Week 10 preview and picks episode later this week. All right, number 7, continuing with my list, up 1 spot from last week. They sit there undefeated, a team that everybody knows about, but they're still not really getting the clout or the publicity that they probably deserve. I'm talking about the Ramblin' Wreck, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, coming off of a big victory at home over the weekend against the Orange of Syracuse. They're on the road this week at a tough environment, a primetime game. They traveled to Raleigh, North Carolina to take on the NC State Wolfpack. Finley Stadium, especially at night, one of the toughest venues to pull out a victory. That's going to be a huge challenge for the Yellow Jackets this weekend. We'll have to wait and see what plays out with that. But I've got Tech up 1 spot in the 7 hole. Number 8, continuing my list, another team, one of my other big movers up anyway this from last week, a team that I also had some doubts about. I knew, like you did, that, hey, this team could put up points left and right. No doubt about the Ole Miss Rebels. Offensively, they can probably outscore almost anybody in the entire nation, but it really came down, and it does still come down to how often can their defense get the opposing team off the field. And this defense has really, really proven to be their Achilles heel, their weakness. But last week, a huge win on the road at Oklahoma, to where almost at this point, even if Ole Miss happens to lose one more game in the regular season, which would be their second loss, they pretty much have their ticket to the college football playoff in hand. It just hasn't really been punched at this point. So Ole Miss continues to climb on my list. And this week they play host to South Carolina, who I already talked about, really in kind of a downward spiral right now, are the Gamecocks. All right. So I got Ole Miss number 8. Number 9. One of my big movers downward this week, and even though they were victorious, a really, really sloppy game. Down 3 in the 9 hole, I've got the Oregon Ducks. They did defeat hapless Wisconsin over the weekend, but 21-7, I believe they were a 35.5 point home favorite. Now, to be fair, that it was a steady rain the entire night there up in the Pacific Northwest in Eugene, Oregon. But still, it was really a little bit of a sloppy game for the Oregon Ducks. But also in the third quarter, Heisman hopeful quarterback Dante Moore did go out with what appeared to be a broken nose. So Oregon does win, but I expected them actually to cover against the Badgers. I think the Badgers, not only are they the worst team in the Big Ten, but they might be one of the, if not the worst team in all of Power 4 football. So I've got Oregon coming in at number 9. Number 10, a team that all they do is win, and people still don't think they're for real. Huge win over the weekend in Ames against Iowa State. I'm talking about in my 10 spot, the BYU Cougars, who are right there at number 10 where they were last week. I mean, this team looked really, really panic-stricken, if not shell-shocked, that first half against the Cyclones there in Ames. I mean, down at halftime, but all they did was show their fortitude and stick with their game plan. I think Coach Kalani Sitake has got those boys playing excellent football. I think he will be on the move to another location with the coaching carousel that's spinning out of control right now. So I got number 10 BYU right where they were last week, and they are on a bye this week, as is number 9 Oregon. I forgot to mention that. Both those teams get to sit nice and comfortably at home this weekend and take in some football. Number 11, up 2 spots from last week. And I'm all about this team because I love parity. I love the rise of the underdog. And how can you not love it this season? We already talked about Indiana being my number 1 team, but what about the Vanderbilt Commodores? After a big win over the weekend against ranked Missouri, I've got them up 2 spots into number 11. I think the college football playoff potentially is right there for the taking for Vanderbilt, but they do have a very tough game this weekend. They're on the road at number 20 Texas, who pulled off that miracle comeback in the fourth quarter and then won in overtime in Starkville against the power of the cowbell against Mississippi State over the weekend. So I love Vanderbilt. I think this is a great story, along with Indiana, the historical doormats. But you also have Georgia Tech there, undefeated, BYU undefeated. You got Virginia, who's ranked, who's right there near the top of the ACC. It's amazing what this season has brought us, the parity and the rise of the normal not haves or the who's, and I love that. Because normally we've gotten so accustomed to the haves and the have-nots that I love seeing a lot of the have-nots right there in the race, potentially to earn a college football playoff berth. So I got Vanderbilt number 11. Number 12, down 3 spots from last week, even though they had a lopsided victory over the weekend at home, 42-0, a shutout against hapless Oklahoma State, I got the Texas Tech Raiders at number 12 because I'm telling you, even though this team suffered an upset loss a couple weeks ago at Arizona State, this is still a very, very good football team. Come the playoffs, if they punch their ticket, nobody should want to see this team in action. They play championship caliber defense. Their offense normally does not make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. Coach McGuire's got his team playing at an absolute highest of all high levels. And I really hope that Texas Tech faces off with BYU or whoever comes out of the Big 12. I mean, right now, the race in the Big 12 conference and the ACC, it's really just take your pick week by week. I mean, both of those conferences have proven to be so deep that basically not maybe half of the teams in each conference are still alive to earn a conference championship berth. I mean, I can't wait to see what it comes down to at the end in the Big 12 in the ACC. So I got Texas Tech, my final top 12 right there in the 12th spot, down 3 spots. And this week, the Red Raiders, they travel to Kansas State to take on the Wildcats in the Little Red Apple there in Manhattan, Kansas. And Kansas State, after a tough start this year, is really starting to play better football lately. All right, so that's my top 12, 1 through 12. Let me know, College Football Nation, what you think about my list. Do you think I got this team maybe too high? This team maybe too low? Should I maybe remove this team and add this team? I can't wait to hear from you. Comment below, light it up. Now, my first 2 teams out. My first team out, basically in the 13th spot. Welcome back, making their initial appearance on my power rankings list. You got to go with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They do have 2 losses on the year, but to 2 very good teams, to Texas A&M and Miami. Both of those games very close. And if the Irish win out, they're going to find themselves in the college football playoff. It's as simple as that. They had a bye over the weekend. Here in Week 10, they traveled to Chestnut Hill to take on the Boston College Eagles. And my second team out, or number 14. Now, this is going to be a surprise to some of you. This is where I hope to hear some chatter back, all right? A little bit of conversation here. There's a lot of ranked teams, all right, that are right there potentially. You've got Tennessee, you've got Oklahoma, right? But believe it or not, USC, the Fighting Men, the men of Troy, the Trojans are playing great football right now. They've got 2 losses, and they are not bad losses at all, at Illinois and also on the road at Notre Dame. I mean, if they win out, and they've got good opportunities. USC this week, they travel to Nebraska, a primetime game, maybe one of the biggest games in recent memory for the Nebraska Cornhusker program. So if they can win that game after traveling 2 time zones, they finish up with Iowa at home, and they also do travel to Oregon. So they've got some legitimate teams coming up on their schedule that will only increase their potential resume for a college football playoff at large bid. So I got the USC Trojans, my second team out, making their initial appearance on my power rankings list. So that's it. So once again, let me know what you think about my list. Like, share, comment below. I can't wait to hear from you, all of my fellow college football brothers and sisters. Rate, subscribe, click that notification button, please, and thank you for all that you do and have done for the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog channel. All right, that's my episode for today. I will be back probably Friday morning, so look for me. Then I will have my Week 10 preview and picks episode. So until then, go ahead, like, share, rate, subscribe. Can't wait to talk to you. So until then, enjoy the rest of your work week, your school week. Peace, prosperity. I'll see you Friday. And as always, go Hawks. Thanks from the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. See you then. Bye-bye.